If you're not a billionaire, you weren't invited to this event. But that just doesn't matter. We got to see it all live on social media. Davos is a summit where billionaires gather from all over the world. Not only billionaires, political leaders, Trump, the vice president was there, Governor Gavin Newsom, the president of France, all the likes, the elite. This is the gathering of the elite in the world, and we get to watch it happen in 4K. Some really interesting things happened, some really revealing things happened, and I want to start off with talking about our previous video in regards to Greenland. Greenland is a very interesting situation. Essentially, you have a president of a country who is supposed to be the leader of the free world threatening the powers that be, allies actually. They're partners over 100 years, that they're going to take a country. This never happened. And I would like to say that the Trump administration did this as a pump fake. Because what's going on that is a little bit more important than Greenland right now? Greenland is important. Let's not get it mistaken. Why is Greenland important? Minerals, raw materials, things that are needed for the AI revolution, and missiles for the oncoming war, which is unfolding right before our eyes. And something really important has been happening in the Middle East. Iran has been going through massive protests. As many of you have seen, they have been cut off from internet for, I think, 13 days now. Could you imagine living in a world where you can't use your phone to communicate with somebody? Yeah, well, that's most of Iran right now. Protesters have been getting killed with guns. The IRGC, the Iranian forces, have been shooting at protesters. There have been videos circulating online. Now, viewer discretion advised. I don't recommend you see those if you have a weak stomach or get anxious really easily. But this is the truth. This is what's happening. And it is a really opportune time for Israel and the United States to carry out their mission of essentially shutting down the regime which sits in Iran. We had the first stint of war, the 12-day war that happened mid last year in June, where we dismantled, allegedly, the nuclear facilities and the nuclear capabilities that were to come in Iran. Now, this war, which is impending, this impending war, had to be paused because of our actions in Venezuela. Greenland was a huge pump fake. I don't want to say it was necessarily used to pump fake the media, Iran. It essentially just bought us time, right? Because there were no aircraft carrier groups in the Middle East. We had moved them. They had been there before, but we had moved them, especially taking a lot of that to Venezuela, spreading them out across the Pacific, and I believe around the seas around China. So it takes time to move these assets. I think about 2 weeks was the fastest that a aircraft carrier group could get there should they had been ordered. And let's just take a look where they are now. So my point being here is that Greenland was being used as a huge pump fake to the media. Also as a deal. There was some kind of deal made, but reports from NATO were saying there wasn't an actual deal. Matt Root, is that his name? Root? Mark Root. So there was some news made. NATO's Mark Rutte emerges as Trump whisperer-in-chief after dramatic about face at Davos. Yeah, Greenland this, Greenland that. Well, I want to focus on Iran. Let's see if we can find positioning of U.S. aircraft carriers map. Fleet tracker. So, I wonder if this is the most up-to-date information we can get. You'll see here that the nearest aircraft group is basically by Indonesia, and they will need to make it all the way over here. This is Iran. So maybe they're moving. Let's see if we can find a better tool. Aha. So it looks like the aircraft carrier group, USS Abraham Lincoln, is still here. Now, let's check. Will the U.S. aircraft carriers head to Iran? The Trump administration says armada of U.S. warships is headed to Iran just in case. USS Abraham Lincoln. So maybe there is a delay. Kind of crazy that I can just... Oh, well, it looks like it will be arriving in the Gulf of Oman. Let's go check this on the map. Well, folks, the Gulf of Oman, right outside of Oman, aimed right at Iran. So if I were a military analyst or of the sorts, I would probably bet my money that the United States is going to strike Iran soon. Now, there was another very interesting video which I saw. Let me see if I can find it. All right. I found the video. All right. I found the video. So this is an investor, a CEO of an investment firm named Lazard. And, gosh, Polymarket, here we come. This is essentially what he has to say.
That happens in Iran.
And you do?
I think it's very likely that over the next few days there will be something that happens in Iran. And
you
it might be something big, yes.
Why do you think that?
I did, well, from a variety of different, indirect information, and also, to your point, I think...
How hard is it to get through that? It's because obviously somebody told him, and he might not be media trained to not reveal his sources so easily, because it sounded like he wanted to, but didn't know how to get around it.
It's entirely possible the United States was waiting for the carriers to arrive.
Was waiting
for the carriers to arrive.
And that this is just, so that the Greenland story is just a head fake?
I don't know about a head fake, but it has the effect of, it has that effect even if that's not the intent.
And that would mean what? How does that play out if that's actually the case?
Then the big question becomes, can you actually do regime change through effectively a bombing campaign? And I don't think we have any history in which that's effective, but we'll see.
Good point.
It depends what the objective of what happens is. If it's to take out the ballistic missiles, that can be successful.
Okay. I am not going to just... Listen, this is most likely going to escalate into something bigger because there are multiple parties involved that have interest at stake. Israel, again, wants to see that they have total control over what's going on in the Middle East, and the partners in Qatar, the UAE, Saudi Arabia have been willing and aiding partners at times to Israel's agenda, oddly. I believe that this will lead to boots on the ground in Iran. American boots on the ground. It might start with the IDF, but you cannot enact complete change of a regime just through missiles. Iran is very big. We might not understand that, but Iran is a massive country. Let me tell you guys something that you might not know. Okay. Iran, okay. Biggest malls in the world. The biggest mall in the world is in Iran. Actually, they have like a few of the biggest malls. Okay, just the biggest mall. The biggest mall in the world is in Tehran. How many Americans knew this? Shoot, I didn't know. I don't think personally we're meant to know these things, because our perspective of how big the U.S. American influence over the world lessens, and we never want that. America will have boots on the ground at some point, maybe not in 2026, maybe in 2027, but I will say this. The United States is inching towards an escalation with Iran. Because of our interests, because of our partner's interest, because of Israel's interest. Israel's goal is to build a gateway to the West, which they can control in the Middle East. They want to be the partner that can control the trade routes, the airspace, the seas, the land, the political power, the soft power, right? So far, Islam and the Middle East has a huge influence over the world. And this just further enables Israel to complete, their puppet state control over America. Sounds conspiracy theorist, but we see everything that's going on. I mean, we have New Gaza, this BS being pitched by a non-elected official at the most important gathering of elites. I mean, this is just New Gaza slideshow. The most important gathering of elites of the year, right? Look at this BS. Just like, where do the people who already exist go? I'll tell you what's going to happen. They're planning for them to be slave labor. And either that or being kicked out of the country. Pitched by none other than Jared Kushner. I want to find the actual... Look, this one is crazy to me. 100K permanent housing. $2 million people live in Gaza. What the fuck are they going to do with 100,000 units? This is like... This slide pitch is exactly what you do when you're just trying to enamor investors about something. Like, you just throw random numbers. Like, how do you actually justify this number? How do you actually justify 200 education centers, 75 medical facilities? Like, what does that even mean? Well, first of all, why do you need that many? Probably because there's all these people that need recovery. But these are just random numbers without any thought. The Board of Peace put together in a couple weeks. You see this strategy over and over again. I could have made this pitch deck in ChatGPT. You know, it's all so tiring, but we see that there is a greater agenda. Venezuela, Greenland, Gaza, Iran. Guess what these all are? Beachfront property. Beachfront property. So Trump can put a big, beautiful Trump building hotel and resort with a golf course overlooking the sea. That, folks, is American imperialism at its best, and we are about to see it unfold fully.